super excited because this session has 3 STEM superheroes today. This is the first time we've ever had 3 amazing STEM superheroes who are able to join us. So Girl Scouts, I am super excited today. We are going to be learning how to work together, how we can use a concept called like citizen science to help with science endeavors and adventures. All 3 of these superheroes work at the Human Computation Institute. At this institute, there is a game which you guys are going to get to check out and play today called Stall Catchers. Stall Catchers is a game where you look at short videos of tiny brain blood vessels to help advance Alzheimer's research. Now, many of our STEM superheroes have studied things like science, and they've also studied subjects like how you can help people use that science to make a difference.
Can anyone raise their hand and tell us if they can tell us what computation is? Computation basically just means solving a problem. Have you ever heard someone say the phrase, "this doesn't compute for me"? Yeah, I think you might have. That means they just don't understand it. So when you compute, you solve problems. Computation is the act of solving problems. A computer is a problem-solving machine. So the Human Computation Institute, where Maggie, Gretia, and I all work, is a place where people solve problems together with computers.
I've been able to be a part of a couple of these Girl Scout events, both in person and online. There was one event where we were able to go to the Cornell University to actually look at the lab where they're doing the imaging for the vessels that you're going to be looking at today. We're going to be looking at capillaries and some mouse brains. I've always been interested in science, but I was never very good at math. So I was not sure that I'd be able to be a part of any kind of STEM for my work. But here I am, and I get to be a citizen scientist along with you guys.
You're playing this online game to help do research to help cure Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's disease is a disease that happens to your brain where you don't remember things as well.
I myself actually wasn't a Girl Scout because I don't think such thing existed in my country when I was your age. And to be honest, I'm envious for you of all girls because I see how many interesting things you can do from such a young age now. And of course, stall catchers and citizen science are one of those. But anyway, it's really fun to do citizen science. I'm really happy that we do have this thing now, because it doesn't matter how old you are, how experienced you are, what are you interested, you always can find something that's really, that can be really interesting for you. And by that, everyone just playing a game can make really important impact on healthcare, on research, on science. But it doesn't even feel like, doing a hard work. It feels like playing a game. And I think that's the whole magic and beauty of citizen science. And I'm so glad that I'm here today and I can share all of this with you.
Gretia's the best. I love working with both Gretia and Maggie. So I think one cool thing about Gretia that she didn't mention is she's able to tell stories about science. In her country, Lithuania, if anyone here has heard of Bill Nye the Science Guy, right? Gretia is kind of like the Bill Nye the Science Guy of Lithuania. She's Gretia the Science Girl. We'll have to workshop that one. It doesn't rhyme as well, but you get what I mean. So she's a great storyteller, and by telling stories about science, she's able to get people doing it. I want to say Maggie is such a great leader at the Human Computation Institute. She keeps us all on track. And I think Maggie also shows that you can, because you all might think, oh, I'm not going to be a scientist. That's okay. You don't have to want to be a scientist to be a citizen scientist. Maggie has had a really cool career where she's been a musician and she's worked in healthcare. Like she said, she's a citizen scientist just like you are. So when I was your age, when I was a Girl Scout, I didn't think science was for me. I thought it was really complicated and really hard. I associated it with tests that I would fail and memorization. And I thought it was the most boring thing in the entire world. So when scientists would come to my class to come speak, or they come talk to my Girl Scouts troop, I would just tune them out because I thought they're talking to other people. They're not talking to me. But then I realized once I got older and I started doing citizen science, which is when you volunteer, no matter what age you are or where you are in the world or what you do, where you volunteer to help do science. When I started doing citizen science, I realized that science was really cool. That's a way of answering questions about the world, that I'm able to understand monarch butterflies better, which I'm absolutely obsessed with. And then I started doing a bunch of other citizen science projects like stall catchers. I ended up getting my PhD in this field. A PhD is the highest degree you can get. So you can see I went from not liking science at all to doing a lot of it. But one reason I really love it, and one reason I love working at the Human Computation Institute, is I'm able to help people of all ages, anywhere in the world, do real science through citizen science. Anyone can partner up with scientists and help them to answer big questions, like ones about Alzheimer's disease. I know Maggie mentioned at the beginning that she wasn't very good at math as a kid. I wasn't either. The little secret I realized is no one is intrinsically good. Intrinsically means naturally. No one is naturally good at math or science. It's just where you put your attention. So I learned that if you give it time and you try and you really think with it and sit with the problem, anyone can be good at math and science. All right, so what is citizen science? It's when anyone, anywhere does real science, often by collecting or analyzing data. Data is just information. So it can be pictures that you take with your smartphone. It can be, images of blood vessels, like what we're looking at today. It can be numbers that you take, like inches of rainfall. It's just information about the world around us. And analysis is when we look at data and we try to find patterns or come to some sort of conclusion about it. So science, this field that we keep talking about, it's when you ask questions about the world and systematically, and that's just a word that means one step after the other, systematically investigate them to create new knowledge. So science is just a way of asking questions and then seeking answers about the world around us. And it's everything. It's everything from astronomy, so looking up at the night sky, to health, like what we're doing today around Alzheimer's, to trees, like trees that we're understanding in nature around us, and everything in between. And anything that you see in the world can be investigated through science.
Citizen science, when I first learned, I didn't know about it until I joined the Institute. And what I also didn't learn until further along that process is that it's not that common to have citizen science projects specifically related to health research, which is what we'll be doing today. We'll be, again, trying to figure out how to find treatments for Alzheimer's disease. And that was a little bit of, it's kind of more on the cusp of what citizen science is being used for. There's a lot more projects now, but
my opinion, the best way to learn about citizen science is just to do it. And one last thought on the field as a whole before we get into this specific project. The cool thing about citizen science is you can keep doing it for the rest of your life. Maybe you grow up and you become an accountant or a hairdresser or a movie star or a musician, whatever job, or a firefighter. Whatever job you end up doing, you can still keep volunteering and doing projects like stall catchers, which is moving Alzheimer's research forward, or you can do projects to look at the night sky, or you can do projects to make sure the trees in your neighborhood are healthy. No matter what job you end up doing or where you are in the world, you can continue to be a citizen scientist. So all that being said, let's now become citizen scientists today and do some stall catchers. One novel finding from that lab at Cornell that Maggie mentioned is that there's 30% less blood flow in a brain with Alzheimer's disease. And the reason why is stalls, clogged blood vessels in the brain. And another novel finding from that lab at Cornell University that is partnered with stall catchers, the project you all are doing today, is that restoring blood flow restores memory and reduces other symptoms in mice. So before people like you, volunteers like you, who are citizen scientists who are helping answer questions, it took these researchers at Cornell University 6 to 12 months to answer one question in the lab. The question might be, does this particular treatment reduce Alzheimer's or reduce the stalled blood vessels in these mice, or whatever it might be. Maggie might have better examples. But it took them 6 to 12 months to answer one research question in the lab. With stall catchers, with interstall catchers, with the global community like you answering these questions. And it's a lot of people. You're not alone. There are over 140,000 catchers, 50 to 100 playing every day. With your help, research is 5 times faster. And instead of it taking 6 to 12 months to answer a question, now it only takes 1 to 2. If you're able to follow the instructions of stall catchers and classify these blood vessels, you get to help answer these questions and contribute to this research. So Maggie, Gretia, if you have any insights, what are some of the discoveries stall catchers has helped facilitate so far? Now it's time for you to catch those stalls. Let's get started. So you all are going to want to go to stallcatchers.com, make an account, and start catching. My favorite part of my job, I think it's work. It's the idea that I'm part of something bigger than myself. I'm very worried about Alzheimer's, and I had a close friend who was impacted. So the fact that I'm able to help it by playing an online game, I'm able to help address this disease that affects so many people. That makes me really happy.
My favorite part is probably that by telling stories about science and about stall catchers, a lot of people can know more about it and they can join. Because the same thing happened to me. At first I didn't know about stall catchers, but then I saw a video about it and I decided to join. And the more I was involved, the more I was playing it, and now I'm also part of the team. So probably the best part of my job is that I can really help people to do the impact, and just, because not all games are equally impactful, and this is really important.
I love what you all have to say about how wide-reaching the impact is, and I think that's one of the really cool things about our Girl Scouts overseas and our catch-a-thon and playing stall catchers is it's very rare that no matter where in the world you are, you can have an opportunity to come together as a community and contribute to a shared goal. It's our 4th year playing stall catchers in November. And every year we have Girl Scouts in Taiwan and the United States and Mexico and Germany and all points in between playing the game. And it's so cool to me to think about, again, that like we had a Girl Scout last year that was on a remote island in Indonesia. She was literally the only Girl Scout on the entire island, but she got to feel like she was really a part of, and not feel like, because she was really a part of this group effort to contribute to Alzheimer's research.
Gretia, do you have any tips for people who are new to stall catchers and might be a little confused or a little worried about making an incorrect answer?
My tip would be that if you are unsure and want to watch it again, you can not only play with the play button, but you can also grab a little slider that's moving and you can get back. You can move it with your mouse or with your finger if you're on iPad to that part which you are unsure of, and you can watch it again. This is what I do all the time.
And if you get it wrong, don't fret. The crowd has your back. Stall catchers takes the consensus answer. And that means the answer that a bunch of different people have classified, and it might weigh your answer more or less depending on your track record. So all that is to say, you can classify without fear of being wrong because the crowd has your back.
I have a quick question for you all. I love how you all seem to take slightly non-traditional routes to the STEM world. Before the Steminist series launched, I would have told you too that I don't have a head for science. I don't have a head for math. Like, I can't do addition without a calculator. So in case any of our Girl Scouts are maybe feeling the same way, like Caroline, I think you said that that you like STEM you thought it was boring and like big tests. So what if if girls are maybe feeling the same way, what would your advice or your suggestions be to find their place in STEM, to maybe prepare for a career in STEM, kind of like you all have landed in?
Yeah, well, my first thing would be, if you are a curious person, then you're already a scientist. If you like to go outside and look at the world around you, or if you've ever, pondered how the brain works and wish you understood it better, or if you've ever looked up at the night sky and tried to find a constellation, well, you're a scientist. So the act of anyone who does science is a scientist. I think we do ourselves a real disservice by thinking that you have to look like Albert Einstein to be a scientist. That is not the case. You don't have to be a genius to be a scientist. In fact, you might be better off if you're not a genius, because anyone who does science, like I said, is a scientist. The act of doing science is just asking a question and then trying to answer it through doing a really good step-by-step process. So to do science, you really just have to be patient and have attention to detail. And I think it's way better, Taryn, that you don't add without a calculator, because your answer is probably more likely to be accurate if you do use a calculator rather than trying to do it in your head. So why give yourself shade for using your available tools to be as accurate as possible? I think that's great. So yeah, my answer is, if you're curious about the world around you and you're open to having the attention to detail and doing that step-by-step process, then you are indeed a scientist.
I think that it doesn't matter if you are good at one thing or another, because everything can be a science. Science is just, the way how do you see things and not the things in itself. So I do believe that we are all talented at something and less talented at something else. Nobody is talented or untalented at everything. So you just have to look around and find what you like the most and what do you have most success on, and that will be the answer.
Yeah, I was just going to echo the being open to having an open-mindedness when it comes to the curiosity and everything. So like Kara, I think someone mentioned that I was originally a musician and then I was in healthcare, and I had no idea that I would be at this institute being involved in these kinds of research, being in this kind of research and these kinds of research methods. So I would say, yeah, don't limit yourself. I think if I could go back to Maggie when I was in grade school, I would say don't limit yourself and don't be so hard on yourself. So that's what I would say.
Girl Scouts, will you join me in giving a big thank you to our STEM superheroes from Stall Catchers today? Maggie, Caroline, Gretchen, it was so lovely having all three of you on today.